Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how much we all want to get better at English, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into all four major skills.
All right.
And we're actually going to base this off a really cool YouTube video I found
Oh,
from this channel called Speak Smarts.
I've seen those guys. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're really good. And it's a short one too, like less than 5 minutes long.
I like those.
Me too. It's like just enough to give you some,
Some good tips.
yeah, just some good tips and tricks. So the idea here is we're going to look at their tips and then unpack them a little more
Awesome.
and figure out how we can actually put this stuff into practice.
You know what I liked about this video?
Okay.
It's like they really get how overwhelming it can be. Like, improve your English. That's a huge goal.
Yeah, it's like, where do you even start?
Yeah. And they break it down into these nice, simple steps,
Yeah,
which I think is really smart.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's like anything else in life, you know?
Right.
Like you wouldn't just wake up one morning and be like, okay, I'm going to run a marathon.
No way.
You got to train, you got to build up to it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with English. So
Yeah.
they kick things off with reading, which I think makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
good foundation.
Absolutely.
And their first tip for reading is to start small.
I like that.
Yeah. So instead of trying to read like War and Peace in English right away, they say,
Right.
just pick like one English news headline every morning.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. And just try to do that for a week and see how you feel, you know?
It's about consistency. It's like when you're learning a musical instrument,
Totally.
you don't just sit down and play a concerto.
You got to practice your scales.
You got to practice your scales every day, even if it's just for a few minutes.
And then eventually all those little practices add up.
They do. And the video also mentions these things called graded readers.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever come across those?
Oh, I love graded readers.
They're great, aren't they?
I think they're such a good idea, especially for people who,
Who are maybe intimidated by, like...
yeah, by like, you know, trying to pick up a full-on novel
Right.
or like some super academic article.
Yeah, and it's like you're not quite ready for that.
No.
Hmm.
And the cool thing about graded readers is they're basically books
Right.
that have been rewritten.
Using simpler language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the vocabulary and the grammar are all tailored to your level.
Yeah.
So it's challenging enough to keep you learning, but it's not so difficult that you just want to give up.
And you don't have to go on some big hunt for these things.
Yeah.
There are websites like specifically for finding graded readers.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. You can just search for like graded readers for English learners.
That's awesome.
And you'll find tons of resources.
I love it.
So yeah, find a topic you love and dive in.
And they have like different levels, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you can kind of work your way up.
Exactly. As you improve.
So smart.
It is.
Okay, so another tip they had for reading was to highlight new words as you come across them.
Oh, I do that.
Me too. But I was thinking we could take it a step further.
Oh,
you know?
how?
Like, what if we use different colored highlighters for different parts of speech?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Like blue for nouns, green for verbs.
Red for adjectives.
That way you're not just highlighting.
You're like actively thinking about it.
Exactly. You're engaging with the language on a deeper level.
I love that. It's all about making it fun.
Yeah. The more fun it is, the more likely you are to stick with it, right?
Totally.
Okay, so next up is writing.
Oh.
I know. This one's always a bit tougher for me personally.
Oh, yeah. Writing can be tricky.
Like reading, I can kind of get lost in,
Yeah.
but writing, it's like, I don't know.
It's more active.
Yeah. You got to actually produce something.
Yeah.
But anyway, the video recommends daily journaling.
The classic.
Yeah. And I get it. It's a good way to just get your thoughts down on paper.
Or on screen.
Yeah, on screen these days. But even that, you know, sometimes I just,
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to write a whole journal entry.
I hear you. But it doesn't have to be a masterpiece every time.
Right.
Just a few sentences, even bullet points.
Totally.
What did you do today? What are you grateful for?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's about building the habit, not about writing the next great novel.
And there are also those online tools now, like Grammarly,
Oh, yeah, those are great.
which are so helpful.
It's like having an editor right there with you.
It is. It catches your mistakes, gives you suggestions.
Yeah. And it can really help with, like, building your confidence.
Definitely. Because I know for me personally, like one of the things that holds me back from writing in English
The
is...
fear of making mistakes.
Yes, exactly.
And Grammarly kind of takes that fear away a bit.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I can make mistakes, but I'll have this little helper to guide me.
And then you learn from those mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's also helpful to like pick a specific type of writing to focus on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if you know you need to write a lot of emails for work,
Right.
then practice writing emails in English.
Or if you want to be more active on social media.
Yeah, write some tweets.
Yeah. Write some posts.
That way you're practicing something that's actually relevant to your life.
Absolutely. Makes it more motivating.
Okay, next up is listening.
All right.
Which is, I think, a skill that a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, for sure. It's passive, right? You just kind of sit there.
Right. But the thing is, it's not really passive.
No, it's not.
If you want to get good at it,
Yeah.
you got to be active about it.
Right.
So anyway, the video recommends watching shows or podcasts in English.
Yeah, that's classic advice. But it's good advice.
It is if you do it right.
Right.
And I think the key here is to pick stuff that you actually enjoy watching or listening to.
Absolutely. If you're bored out of your mind, you're not going to learn anything.
No. And there's so much out there. Like, whatever you're into, you can find a show or a podcast about it in English.
Yeah. Think about your hobbies. Are you into cooking?
Oh, yeah. There are so many cooking shows.
Tons of them. Watch those in English. Or, like, sports.
Oh, yeah. Sports commentary is great.
Yeah. So many options.
Find something that you actually want to watch, and then you won't even feel like you're studying.
Exactly. It'll just be fun.
So they also talked about this thing called active listening.
Ah, yes.
Which I think we all struggle with sometimes.
It's so easy to just kind of zone out.
Especially when you have the subtitles on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm reading, I'm paying attention.
But are you really?
Right. It's like you're not actually processing the language.
Exactly. So their tip for active listening is...
Well, actually, I have a good tip for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So every few sentences, just pause the video or the podcast.
Okay.
And then in your head, try to summarize what you just heard.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And then you can check the subtitles to see if you got it right.
Oh, I like that. It forces you to actually engage with what you're hearing.
Exactly.
Instead of just passively letting the words wash over you.
It's a workout for your ears.
It is. Okay, are you ready for the big one?
The scariest one.
The scariest one. Speaking.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. This one's always the most intimidating for people.
But it's the most important.
It is. If you want to actually use English in the real world,
You got to speak it.
you got to speak it. But this video actually has a really interesting tip for practicing speaking.
Oh, what is it?
They recommend talking to yourself.
Oh, like out loud.
Yeah, out loud.
Interesting.
I know, it sounds kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But there's actually a neurological reason for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you speak out loud,
Yeah.
it activates different parts of your brain
Oh, interesting.
than when you're just thinking the words in your head.
Makes sense.
So it's like you're actually giving your brain a workout.
Like lifting weights for your language muscles.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Right.
You can literally just describe what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm making breakfast. Now I'm cracking the eggs. Oops, I dropped one.
Yeah. Or like if you're walking down the street.
Narrate your walk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm turning left now. There's a dog over there. Oh, cute coffee shop. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll stop in.
Yeah. It might feel silly at first,
It might.
but who cares? You're by yourself.
Mm.
No one's judging you.
And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get.
Exactly.
And speaking of getting comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
the video also mentions conversation clubs,
Oh, yeah. Those are great.
which I think are a fantastic way to practice speaking.
They are. Especially if you're feeling a little shy.
Yeah, because you're all in the same boat.
You're all there to practice.
And there are tons of online conversation clubs now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you don't even have to leave your house.
I like that. That's way less intimidating
It is.
than like going to a group in person.
Yeah, you can just join from your couch.
In your pajamas.
Exactly.
And again, find a group that focuses on something you're interested in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so important.
So it's not just like awkward small talk.
Right. You have something to actually talk about.
Right. And that'll make the conversation flow more naturally.
Totally. Okay, last tip for speaking.
Ooh, what is it?
This one's called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah, have you ever heard of this?
I have. It's fun.
It is fun. So basically, you find a video of a native speaker talking,
Okay.
and you listen to it very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
and then you try to repeat what they say.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, like you're their shadow. You're
Yeah.
trying to mimic their pronunciation and their intonation.
And it's good for like,
What's so good for your pronunciation?
yeah, because you're like really paying attention to the sounds.
And it can also help you pick up on those little nuances of spoken English.
Yeah, like the rhythm and the stress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which are so important for sounding natural.
Yeah. It's like you can know all the grammar rules in the world,
Right.
but if your pronunciation is off.
People might have trouble understanding you.
Exactly.
So yeah, shadowing's a fun way to work on that.
All right, so there you have it.
The 4 skills.
Reading, writing, listening, speaking.
Like 4 pieces of the puzzle.
And you know what's cool? They all feed into each other.
Yeah, they do.
Like, if you improve your reading, you're going to learn new vocabulary.
Totally.
Which you can then use in your writing and your speaking.
And even in your listening.
Exactly. It's all connected.
So I guess the question is, out of those 4 skills, which one do you find the most challenging right now?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And once you've identified that,
yeah,
what's one small step you can take, like today, to start improving?
Yeah. Even if it's just like reading one news headline.
Or talking to yourself for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Any little bit helps.
Just make that commitment to yourself.
And stick with it.
And celebrate those small victories.
They matter.
They do. All right, everyone. That's it for today's deep dive.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time. Bye.